I was about this far from the cross when I saw him hanging there. I was lost in a crowd, or at least hoping to be. Every time I looked around, it seemed someone was staring at me and almost ready to recognize me, arrest me. And I would look again, and I was all alone. There was nothing there. I was alone in that hill, the same dark, foreboding sky, but just me. I'm getting ahead of myself. Good morning. My name is Simon Peterp. Yeah, that's it. That's the look over here. Like, that's the guy. And over here, tell us the rooster story. I get that all the time. I'll tell you the rooster story, but first, let me ask you a question. How many of you, by show of hands, have ever said something or did something and immediately regretted it and wish you could take it back? Yeah, look around. That's called being human. Congratulations, you're part of the human race. I do that, but I tend to be really impulsive, so when I do it, it's a really big way. And that brings up the rooster story. Let's start the night before. We were having dinner. It was a Thursday night. The 12 of us were gathered with Jesus. There was nothing unusual about that at all. Dinner went fine, and afterwards he talked to us and started teaching us, and again, nothing unusual. It was one of those times where I was having trouble grasping what he was trying to tell us. That happens sometimes. It takes a little while for my mind to try to take in everything, and I was really hoping to catch this. I just couldn't. And then I heard my name. When you hear your name, you're pretty focused. And he said that this very night, I would deny him 3 times. Not once, not twice, 3 times. I said, Lord, it's me. Simon Peter, I'm the one who recognized that you were the Messiah. The first one. I'm the one who you named Simon Peter. I'm your rock. I'm your foundation. Not me, Lord. I don't remember quite what happened then. I kept thinking of his words. He was talking to some other people. There was a lot of chatter going around at the table. At one time, Judas came up and was talking with them, but I couldn't catch the conversation, and then Judas left, but that was kind of normal. Judas was the treasurer who was probably paying the bill. Jesus talked to us a little bit longer and then dismissed us. He did ask James, John, and myself to join him for prayer off in the garden. We were honored. And we went to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray, and it was quiet at that time of night. There was no one around. It was the perfect location. And I knelt over to pray. What happened next, I'm not really proud of. I keep thinking, if only I could have stayed awake, we could have avoided all of this. I got tired. I could not keep my eyes open. I fell asleep. And when I woke, there were people all over the place. At first I thought I was dreaming, and I saw this crowd, and I saw a Roman guard, and I reacted. I'm impulsive, right? I pulled a sword, and I cut the ear off of the person standing next to me. And just that fast, Jesus was there. And he touched his ear, and he healed him. I wanted to talk to him. We needed to get him out of there. I saw Roman guards, but he was gone again. And I tried looking around. I tried to focus where he was. I saw some Roman guards. I saw some people. There's some Pharisees and Sadducees. And they had Judas. They came for our Lord, but they were also collecting disciples. They were also picking us up. And they were walking over to some Roman guard with them. I had to get to him. And I saw Jesus over here with some Roman guard, and I went in that direction to save him. And sound like someone who would betray him or deny him at all. I didn't get very far. Somebody stopped, said to me, "I know you. You were with him." I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. "Not me. You got me mistaken for somebody else." Impulsive, right? He said it so loud. Other people from the crowd looked over. Some Roman guards, centurions were looking at me. I had to get out of there. And I started to move away from him, and someone else grabbed my arm, physically grabbed me, and said, "No, I saw you too." And I looked at him, and I broke his grip, and I said, "I don't know him." There's two. I could rationalize the first two as being impulsive. I could rationalize the first two as survival mode. But not the third. The third was the worst. I got away, and I was confronted not by some angry member of the crowd. I wasn't confronted by a Pharisee or scribe or Roman centurion. I was confronted by a girl about this tall, a servant girl. She couldn't do any harm to me at all. She was absolutely no threat whatsoever. And she looked at me and said, "Sir, aren't you one of his?" And I just blurted out, "I don't know the man." That was three. At that moment, the rooster crowed. Jesus' words flooded back into my mind. Tears came to my eyes. I looked and I saw him being taken away by the Roman guard. And at that moment, he turned. And he looked at me. I will never forget the look in his face. "Peter, do you really not know me?" It was something else, too. Another look. Almost as if he was trying to tell me something. I couldn't piece it together right away. "Peter, remember this. Use it to strengthen the others." And that's why I'm here today. We're all going to fall. We're all going to say and do things we immediately regret. We're all human. When those times happen, it's really important that we pick ourselves up off of the ground. I was at the lowest point of my life. I wanted to run, but there was no place to run. I wanted to hide, but there was no place to hide. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. The next day, I just had to see if it was all real. So I disguised myself the best I could, went into the crowd. I needed to see. And I watched as he hung there on the cross. I looked around. Looked like people were staring at me from time to time, trying to see who I was. I wasn't sure if I'd be arrested at any moment. I looked around again, and it was like I was all alone. Everything was gone. Everything I knew, everything I loved, in all of the world, it simply vanished. I had nothing. And then I looked again. And I was back in that hill as he hung in that cross. He tried to lift his head a little bit. There was so much pain and anguish in his face. And then as I looked at it, it changed. His face turned from pain and anguish to joy. There was a smile on his face. The sky had cleared. It was a beautiful blue sky. There was a warm breeze. I was on a hill, but it wasn't that hill. The 12 of us were gathered around his feet. It was an event that had happened weeks ago, And I was seeing it playing live in my mind right then. Jesus was teaching us. He was asking us, how far does God's kingdom extend? Is it only for the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the religious ones? Or do we cast our net further? Do we include the Jews as well? Or do we go even further and include the Gentiles and all the people who do good and follow the commandments? Or do we embrace everyone in the entire world, even sinners, especially sinners? And I was brought back to that hill, and I saw him hanging from the cross, his arms still stretched wide. And I thought, he's still embracing the entire world. Not even death can defeat him. He will live. I imagine for all of us who were at the cross that day, we all have our own stories, our own unique perspectives and experiences. For me, it was the rooster story. I was at the lowest point of my life. I had fallen. I had nothing. I had nothing left. There was no strength to even stand up. I was done. My entire world was gone. And then I remembered something. Jesus loves me. He still loves me despite all of my shortcomings. He loves me for who I am. And when I realized that, it filled me with hope. And hope is what's going to allow you to stand again. That's going to give you the strength to stand up once again. We're all going to have those dark moments in our lives. And no matter what's happened in your past, you cannot stay down. You cannot allow a temporary situation to become a permanent reality. Hope will help you to rise once again. The hope that Christ brings. That's what's important. People have asked me if I cringe every time I hear a rooster crow today. I used to, but not anymore. Because the rooster now reminds me of two really important things. One, with hope, all things are possible. With hope, all things are possible. Say it with me. With hope, all things are possible. And the other, it is never too late to heal your soul. It is never too late to heal your soul. Say it with me. It is never too late to heal your soul. May the love of Christ and the hope that he brings